Welcome back to the UnderVerse Record Show. I am your host, Andrew Balderson. Now, you've heard from all of our hosts, and we hope we are entertaining you with the greatest bands of the underground. And trust me, the underground has no shortage of great bands. Now, I figured I would start today a little differently. I actually have 3 of my 4 kids here now to share with you what some of their favorite bands are in the underground. It's 3 of the 4 because the 4th is 2 years old and not exactly in a position where he is going to tell us what his favorite band or songs may be. So right now, why don't you guys introduce yourselves to the UnderVerse, and why don't you let them know your name and your age?
I am Brett and I am 9 years old.
I'm Austin, I am 8 years old.
I'm Jackson, I'm 6 years old.
All right, Brett, Austin, and Jackson. Now, folks, trust me, these kids are huge fans of the underground. At this point, honestly, it's pretty rare to catch them listening to anything that is not a part of the underground, which I take a lot of pride in myself. So why don't we start from the top right here? Brett, why don't you go ahead and, all 3 of you, but we'll start with Brett. Why don't you guys list what your favorite underground bands are for the UnderVerse?
Slam.
Distance Defined.
Nightwalkers.
Slam, Distance Defined, and Nightwalkers. Now, I'm going to tell the UnderVerse why I think that's special. We live in a little town in the mountains in Maryland. This is a small town nobody's ever heard of, trust me. And my kids have named 3 bands, one of which being from the UK, one of which being from Alaska, and one of which being from Panama. My point is, the underground has reach that's everywhere. And under the right conditions or the right circumstances, all it takes is one person to hear that band and they're a fan. As you can see in my household alone, it's global. They are fans of bands all around the world. My point is, if you're a fan of a band, the best thing you can do for that band is support them, which isn't just in buying their albums and buying their merch, which is amazing, but it's also in sharing them with your friends. Because, you know, we may be a fan of, like Jackson is a fan of Nightwalkers from Panama. Yeah, we can't go see them live, which is unfortunate. We hope that day can come, though. But we can still support them. We can support them by spreading their name out, and hopefully in spreading their name out, people are buying their music and supporting this band and helping them get to that next level. So that's basically the point I was trying to make in doing this segment. While it's also fun to have my kids involved, it's also fun to just show what that reach can really become, which is something that I've thoroughly enjoyed in the community of Unsigned Not Unheard, which has also been brought over here to the UnderVerse Record Show. So we can get into some music right now. Another thing we did a little special, I let my children, Brett, Austin, and Jackson, are picking out the first 3 songs played here tonight. You guys will love them, I guarantee it. So don't thank me this time. Thank Brett, Austin, and Jackson, because they picked some amazing songs. So why don't you guys actually tell the audience the songs that you chose. So Brett, you first.
Fight or Die by Slam.
All right, Austin.
Iron Hand by Distance Defined.
Nice choice. Jackson.
Face Your Fears by Nightwalkers.
Perfect. These are 3 great songs. Slam, Fight or Die. Amazing song. Great choice, Brett. Austin, Distance Defined, which, by the way, we have an interview with Trevin Days from Distance Defined today, so you'll be hearing a lot of them. And he chose the song Iron Hand. And then Jackson with Nightwalkers and their song Face Your Fears. You know what? These are 3 of my favorite songs in the underground. I couldn't be a more proud father right now. You guys will enjoy this. You will become a fan, just like my kids. And remember, spread the underground, because the underground can only grow with the help of the underground. Let's get into it.
there's you outside of the street, dropping the race of a train way. There's a train coming to you, coming to you. So watch out, here it comes, the train for coming to you.
Wow. Brett, Austin, and Jackson picked some amazing songs. They really nailed it. They were all so excited when I told them that if they picked out a song, I would let them kind of do the introduction of sorts, and they were just ecstatic. Kids love that stuff. But they really did pick excellent songs, and I couldn't be happier with those song choices. If I were picking the first three, I don't even know that I would have went too much different than what they did for this episode. So that was awesome. And then, of course, with Distance Defined, I mentioned how I have an interview on today's episode with Trevin Days of Distance Defined. It was a fun interview. It was a good interview. And he's certainly a guest I would like to have on again. And I hope you guys feel the same way when you listen to this interview. This is my favorite one I've done yet. And hopefully it just keeps going that way. You know, it seems like everyone gets a little easier, a little more relaxed, and I think the results kind of speak for themselves. Now, right now, I'd like to thank our sponsors for the UnderVerse Record Show. And all of these sponsors are helping us out in a huge way. And all of them are huge supporters of what we're doing as far as the underground and things of that nature. All of them are huge supporters of the underground as well. So first, Unsigned Not Unheard. For anybody that is listening to the UnderVerse Record Show and is not yet a fan of Unsigned Not Unheard, it's just a great platform for bands and fans alike to check out new music, to have your music heard. My kids picked Slam, Distance Defined, and Nightwalkers, global bands, and all three of those bands were heard through Unsigned Not Unheard. Without that platform, I don't know that any of those bands would have necessarily been heard by them at that time. Secondly, we have OMP Unplugged. This is my favorite up-and-coming podcast, especially for underground, for music, it's just an entertaining podcast in general. It's insightful. If I have to walk away for a moment, I have to hit pause because I don't want to miss a second of that show. So I encourage everybody to check out OMP Unplugged. And of course, Radio Roach. Without Radio Roach, the UnderVerse Record Show cannot exist right here as you're listening to it now. And I encourage everybody to listen to Radio Roach all throughout the day, not just for the UnderVerse Record Show. The music is amazing. The roster is, it's so broad. It's so good. And I Radio Roach is something I listen to quite frequently throughout the day. I think everybody else should definitely give it a go as well. And lastly, Dark Days Design. They put out some of the best album artwork that I have ever seen, period. And this isn't strictly underground, no. They put out some of the best artwork I've ever seen. And, I mean, that's album covers and merch designs and things of that nature. And we're happy to say that for those of you that follow us on Facebook, we have been running a contest with Dark Days. They gave us a piece of artwork that we decided to do a giveaway with. And the contest is over, and today, on this episode, we will be drawing the winner. So, if you hear your name heard, contact us. Otherwise, we will do our part to get a hold of you, whomever you may be. Actually, probably going to have my kids draw the winner of that at the end of this show. So, I mean, there's just so many great things going on behind the scenes and forward for UnderVerse and for all of our sponsors. And again, check them all out on Facebook, on Twitter, and of course, even for us, you can find us on Twitter at UnderVerse666, and we want to hear from you. So please give us some feedback. Let us know what you think, and don't hold back. I mean, we grow with you, with the fans. That's how we do it. So right now, let's take you into a few more songs. We're going to start with Social Strife. We mentioned Radio Roach and some of their amazing bands they have on their roster. Well, this is a band that I heard on Radio Roach, and this is a song that it gets stuck in my head so often. I gotta play it for you guys. I love this song. So if you like it, it's just another reason to continue listening to Radio Roach beyond what this show is. So this is Social Strife with Wish I Could Be. Enjoy.
Trap and I know that I'm lost and nobody knows. And just when I'm feeling high, that's when I know and I've lost my mind and I feel like I'm numb. There's nobody home. And just when I'm feeling right, that's when I know and I wish I could be the man that you want me to be. And I wish I could feel the way that you want me to feel. I'm lost in the irony of a lie that we once shared. I let go of fear and pride. That's when I know there's no point in arguing what we've lost, 'cause nobody knows that I know that I know that I know that I wish I could be the man that you want me to be. And I wish I could feel the way that you want me to feel. And I wish I could be the man that you want me to be. And I wish I could feel the way that you want me to feel. I know and I know and I know and that's when I know and
Andrew Balderson is my crazy cool uncle from Unside Not Unheard. And you're listening to the UnderVerse Record Show on Radio Roach. I hate bugs, but I love Radio Roach. Stay tuned, my fellow rockers.
I told you that Social Strife song was catchy. Wish I could be. You'll be humming it to yourself. You'll be singing it to yourself. You'll be like me, and it's the only damn song that'll be in your head. But I mean that in a good way, because I really, really love that song. Then we went to Almost Honest with their song Appalachian Sasquatch. That's a band that's actually not that far from me, and I plan on going to see them live here soon. I love that band. I love their sound. Younger guys that are just doing it right, and they're pumping out some great tunes. I haven't heard a song I don't like yet, so I strongly encourage everybody to check out Almost Honest and support those guys for sure, especially if you like that song. And then we got Heavier we went to May Saloon, band out of Syria, and damn are they good. It's just a heavy song. It's called Before the Nightfall. They actually recently got signed. I'm sorry right now it's escaping me what the label is that they got signed to. But they're incredible. So definitely check out May Saloon. It's all one word, May Saloon. And support those guys for sure. Because that's just some heavy, brutal stuff. And it gets me pumped up every time I hear it. So we're going to play a few more songs before we get into the interview with Trevin Days. And again, any feedback. I say it a lot. I mean it though. Get on Twitter at UnderVerse666. Get on the Facebook. You can find us at the UnderVerse Record Show. Talk to us. Even right now, you're listening to this interview. I'm sure you're playing on your phone. Come talk to me. I'll be on the page as you're listening to this show. And I will talk to you about this current show that we are listening to right now. I like talking to the fans. I like interacting with you guys. I like hearing what you guys like or don't like, and that's how we'll grow. But right now, I got some pretty great bands coming up for you. First, we're going to listen to The Time Framed with their song entitled Tiny Wolves. This band is very supportive of the underground scene, so definitely check this song out, and I think you will like them, and you'll want to go support them as well. Then we're going to go to a band called Sid. I like Sid a lot. For me, they're kind of a little difficult to describe, but certainly I think when you hear them, they definitely fit what UnderVerse is all about, for sure. So their song is entitled Burbalang. It's a damn good song. I really think you guys will like it. And then we're going to go into Distance Defined with their song Convalescent prior to the interview. After Convalescent, we're going to go straight into the interview with Trevin Days. And this one's a good one. He's very, as you can tell in the interview, he's very passionate, and he's very educated in what he is doing and how he's tried to build his brand and have his band heard, which isn't necessarily easy when you're a band coming from Alaska. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and I will check in with you guys again post interview. Take care.
Smell like shit, but my phone is
Hey, this is Dave Miller from Toxic Ruin. You're listening to the UnderVerse Records Show exclusively on Radio Roach.
We're here with Trevin Days from Distance Defined. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. How you?
I'm good. I'm glad to have you on the show. This is awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad to be a part of it. Really liking what you're doing with it.
Awesome. I appreciate that. So, I guess if we're going to start anywhere, what are the names of the members of your band and who does what?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so I'm Trevin. I do guitars. Well, I guess guitar. I'm the only one. And then my brother Trenton, if that's not confusing enough, is the bassist. And then we've got Roland that does lead vocals and Tim who does drums. And I guess as far as like the album goes and for live stuff, Trenton does a lot of the backup screaming, and then I do some vocals and such on songs and, of course, during live performances and such.
Okay. So I actually didn't realize that your brother was in the band. So are you two the two that started the band?
No, actually, the start of the band makes it even more fun of a story. So I live in a place called Homer here in the great north of Alaska, and it's kind of a little small podunk town. But anyways, I guess the joys of Facebook pages these days is you can pretty much reach anyone. And what had happened was Roland and Tim had actually played in a band together before, years ago. And they got together after kind of being inactive musically for quite some time and wanted to start something. And Roland actually just posted on kind of a classified Facebook page for this area looking for a metal guitarist. And a buddy of mine tagged me in that. And so I was all excited because this is a really hippie town full of folk music and bluegrass. And I've tried meeting people here to jam with, and that just was not the thing. So I responded and talked with Roland, sent him a few songs I had written myself, just a couple different genres of things, and he kind of forwarded that to Tim, and we just started like a three-way conversation trying to figure out what we wanted to do with it. And they were like, well, this guy's kind of a long ways away because Tim is like 5 hours away from me. But they were really happy to still try and work with me, and I told them that I had my own recording studio so that writing stuff and recording stuff was actually not too big of a deal for me, even if we were far apart. So we just kind of said, hell with it, and we said, well, let's just see what we can do. So that's kind of the start of the band there. And Trenton was actually gone fishing for quite some time, and when he came back, we already had a pretty good start, a few songs, and I was like, hey, do you want to play bass in the band? And, of course, he was down. So that, in very sort of a nutshell, I suppose, is what started it.
So the power of social media prevailed here.
Yes, I know. It's hard to admit sometimes. But, actually, I have met what I now consider some of my best friends off of Facebook and Craigslist. So, you know what? I'm a believer.
Hey, I'm with you. Everything I've done has been 100% through social media, believe it or not. So, I mean, if it's used correctly, it works wonders. It's a great tool.
I think so. It's kind of like a double-edged sword. I hate it for so many reasons, and honestly, one of the main reasons why I have Facebook and social media is simply just for promoting my music. Otherwise, there's a lot of too much drama out there for me.
No, I agree with you. I've thought so many times about just deleting Facebook and getting rid of it. I don't need that in my life. And then I'm thinking, I do Unsigned, Not Unheard, and that's kind of the platform for it is through Facebook. So it's a necessary evil, so to speak.
I suppose, yeah. And, for us, it works out really good for promoting, since we live up in Alaska and we're not really in a situation where we can just go drive around and tour. We're kind of limited to certain cities, and a lot of Alaska isn't even connected on a highway system. You have to kind of either fly there or take a boat there. So, one of the main ways for us to get our music out there is just targeting different Facebook pages, really, and finding different promotional pages such as yours, and just to try and really get our stuff out there that would otherwise have no other way. I mean, there's no one that would, in the lower 48, would really have a reason to, sort a band out up here. So if they don't even know we exist, it makes it kind of challenging. So having that there allows us to really reach places, I guess, all across the world. We've got fans all over, which has been really cool.
Yeah, I mean, well, like you said, being from Alaska, I mean, for me, the first time you and I talked and you told me you were a band out of Alaska, to me that added a little bit of a mystique, because one of the reasons I started Unsigned, Not Unheard was to hear bands that I would have never heard without searching through social media or whatnot. And I certainly would not have heard a band from Alaska, like you said, kind of, in a remote location, not super accessible. So, like I said, for me, it kind of added to the mystique and just made me want to listen that much more, because I knew it was going to be something new, Yeah,
definitely. I think one cool thing about it is, I guess to kind of make fun of the whole concept, I do play on that a little bit, because even when I promote our band page or whatnot, I'll kind of throw that in there, because you just don't really hear of music out of Alaska. Definitely not metal. I mean, if anything, people might have heard of 36 Crazy Fists before. They're definitely the biggest band, I think, to come out of Alaska. But other than that, there isn't much. So when I do like to say anything, I normally will put, hey, this is Distance Defined, a metal band from Alaska or something like that, in hopes that it'll actually kind of spark interest, because it is a little bit unique.
Right. It's kind of funny you mentioned 36 Crazy Fists, because if I remember right, and I might be wrong, but if I remember right, one of their bigger supporters early in their career was Skin Lab. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Not personally.
They're out of California, but when I was in high school, they were one of my favorite bands. So anybody they endorsed, I checked out, And,
I see. Yeah.
I know that, like I said, I know that they were pretty influential early on for 36 Crazy Fists, and oddly enough, hopefully here soon, I spoke with Steve, the singer of Skin Lab, recently, so hopefully we get an interview out of him soon as well. And, I mean, who knows, maybe one day I can get one out of 36 Crazy Fists, too. That'd be kind of cool.
Well, yeah. We actually, the drummer has worked with Brock, the lead singer of 36 Crazy Fists, and we have yet to actually play a show with them, only because of scheduling conflicts, not because we haven't wanted to. And Brock was actually at our show that we opened up for August Burns Red at, and he got to watch our set, and we actually hung out with them a little bit after our show and just talked music and stuff. And Roland and Tim both have played shows with 36 in bands previously, because 36 is really good about being dedicated to their Alaska fans, and so they're always coming back. They actually came back this summer. Me and Roland got to watch them. Me, Roland Trenton, actually, got to watch them in Kenai, which is where they originally based themselves out of, and it was a great show. They're super loyal to their fans, which is great. So I think if the time comes where you're hoping to get some chatting with him, I bet we could probably give him a call and see if he'd be willing. He's a really cool guy and very personable and great to deal with just about anything music-wise. They actually just released a CD, Lanterns. It just came out, I believe it was last week. Awesome music. They're still pumping out tunes, man. They've been doing it for, over 20 years now. So they've been at it for a long time. Yeah, it's totally worth checking out. I got a chance to listen to some of the new tunes. It's good.
Awesome. You mentioned being able to talk with Brock and things of that nature. I mean, do you pick his brain about what it's like to get out of Alaska and really be able to hit the road, and any advice or anything? Was he able to help you in that sense?
Yeah. That's kind of what we were talking about, and there was a little bit of a small conversation between Roland, Tim, him, and I about just music and the Alaska scene, and he's actually a really huge supporter of local music, which is great. I mean, he's just all about getting out there and playing shows. And Tim actually got to spend some time with Brock in the studio. They were working on something together, and Brock and Tim stayed up quite late discussing all sorts of stuff in that nature. And I think there's definitely a lot of struggles. Getting out of Alaska is a hard thing for any band to do, because it is a big leap of faith on many aspects, not just musically, but if you've got a career, bills, and a job, there's a huge other section you got to think about. Yeah. And then of course you've just got the whole I guess, bootleg work you got to do. You know, you got to really just put your feet in the ground and work for it. And, you know, Brock has mentioned that it's challenging. It definitely puts the band through trials and tribulations, and they've been through a lot, 36 has. And I think in the end, their passion for music is what really continues it. It's not, you know, a huge, gosh, I guess if you think about it, most metal guys, that it's not a glorified get-rich kind of gig. A lot of these guys that are even professional musicians are not really making a whole lot of money, but they're doing it because of their passion. And I think that's one thing that Brock really kind of drove home to us is just, you know, if you love your music, just keep playing, because that's what it's about, anything. And if the fans dig it, then awesome. You know, if not, as long as you're playing for yourself, that's what matters.
Right, I can definitely understand that. I mean, I feel like the path for any band is difficult, but like you said, being in Alaska, a little more secluded, it's a little more out of reach than, you know, a band from my area in Maryland, so to speak.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
There's definitely a lot to be said for any band that, even if you stay in Alaska, just trying to get your music heard in the same ways that you are right now. It's just, I could definitely see how it would be more of a challenge, and in some senses, I would think maybe even a little more rewarding when bands from all around the world are hearing you, because you're putting in that extra work that a lot of bands don't have to.
Yeah, and there's, I don't know, I suppose there's one good thing about it. One different challenge that we have besides, you know, being here is just, you know, when you're down south, you are around many bands, many great bands, very talented bands. And I would say the competition is probably much more higher down there to try and book a gig, to try and get a show. And for us, I think we're kind of blessed because there isn't a whole lot of bands up here. And so when it comes time for a big band to come up to Alaska and they need openers, there's not a huge, you know, pile of bands that some promoters got to choose from. And if you do well here locally and you're responsible and put on a good show and draw a crowd, you know, I would feel like you're much more likely to open up for a bigger band here than, say, you would elsewhere, just because there's not so much competition. So that's kind of something we have going for us being up here. I guess that would be a, you know, a pro versus a con of the others.
Right. Well, I was going to actually ask you about your local scene. You just said there's not a whole lot of bands around, but the bands that are there, I mean, how is the scene in general for what you're doing and the type of music you're into?
Yeah, I think there's actually a pretty good metal scene. I would say back in the, I don't know, early 2010s or late 2000s there, I would say that it was probably at its peak. Roland was in a band called Witness the End, and they were doing really well. They opened up for pretty much any big band that came up. We had, I guess we've had Killswitch, Five Finger Death Punch, As They Lay Dying, Under Oath, all those bands that would come up. Roland was in a band that would pretty much open up for those guys, and the scene was great. It slowly died out throughout the years, I think, as metal kind of what seemed to take a little bit of a dive, but for some reason, maybe it's just because I'm getting back into the scene, but it seems to be taking off again. And I would say I bet there's probably over a dozen really good solid bands, metal bands in the area. But, you know, compare that to anywhere in any major, you know, metropolis city or something, there's hundreds of bands. So,
right.
You know, there is a good scene. The only downfall, I think, to that is since we are kind of closed off, you're going to get a lot of the same bands playing the shows. So I feel like as a local band here, you've got to really be up on your live performance as well as like keeping up on new music to keep people interested, because you're probably going to see the same collection of bands throughout shows throughout the year. And I think that if you just play the same set over and over again, you might kind of wear yourself out a little sooner than you would, say, other place that has many more venues. But so the scene is good for what it is, I think, and we've met a lot of great bands throughout it that we really enjoy playing shows with.
Right, I can understand that. And I mean, I guess in the same token, you know, if the same fans are seeing the same bands over and over again, and like you said, you guys switch it up and, you know, you try to keep it exciting, so to speak, I would imagine the fan base would really be all about you guys. Like that would be a really like hardcore group of fans. It'd really be about you because you're what they have.
Yeah, I think that's there's something to be said about that. You know, I think one thing that I've noticed by talking to people that have been in and out of the scene throughout the years is if you do get a really good, solid band that doesn't ride a high horse and is super, like, friendly with fans and just really about reaching out to people at their shows and such, that speaks numbers, and it really allows people to attach to you. And we've gotten that so far. We've probably only played, I guess in the last year we've maybe played 10 shows, maybe less actually. And that's a small amount of shows, but out of those shows we've gained some really hardcore fans that will go just to see us, which is pretty cool being a new band and trying to get your name out there. So, and because we don't play too horribly often, once a month, maybe once every couple months, that helps too, because we're still relatively new and fresh. But we've got 9 songs in the set list that we play, and, we're already kind of ourselves feeling that we probably need to start working on some new stuff so we're not playing the same thing, to the same crowd in the same time frame of a year, So that's right. That's definitely a cool thing, though, that you do get some really good, dedicated fans, which we have got, which has been really humbling to kind of watch and see people, sing to your songs, and it's always a fun experience to meet people like that that are super into your music.
Right, definitely, absolutely. You said you have 9 songs in your set list that you're playing right now. Do you have a favorite, or even if it's not your favorite, do you have one that the crowd seems to react to the most when you play it?
Yep, the crowd favorite, man. Every single time, it's always Iron. That's the one.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Which song?
It's fine. Iron Hand. It's the one we actually featured on the Unsigned Not Unheard compilation album. That is the fan favorite. Yep, that's the one, man. For some reason, that song gets people moving the most when the breakdown towards the end hits. It's just got this point in time where it's just me playing the guitar. I play a pretty simple riff, but it just is one that gets people moving. And when the whole band comes in, everyone goes crazy. So it's a really cool sight to see. That's always kind of our joking song. Like, all right, well, this song will get the crowd moving, and it's kind of cool because we place it somewhat towards the end. So I think that people are normally pretty excited in the beginning. It slowly starts to taper off, and then we'll put that song on, and it'll get them excited for like those last few songs, and it kind of reboosts the energy of the set. So that's the song winner right there.
Well, I mean, that's certainly a good song. When you sent me that to be featured on Volume 3 of the compilation, I mean, that was the first thing I heard from you guys, and I was a fan immediately. So, I mean, I could see why the crowd would be into that song for sure.
Yeah, it's a pretty good representation of what we can do, I think. The song is, I would say it's got a really good, heavy, kind of chuggedy feel. It's got a good breakdown that isn't overly complicated, but it's also got some really good cleans in it that we kind of take pride in. We like really memorable choruses. We want something that people can sing along to. And it always seems, at least in this genre of music, for this kind of stuff, with the screaming vocals and such, a lot of people have a hard time understanding that, especially if they're a new fan and they're trying to get into music and they don't have the lyrics right away. But the clean choruses that are more simple and catchy, you get really a good crowd with that, and people will catch on to those lyrics a little bit easier. So Iron Hand's just got a really good catchy chorus that I think is good for people to latch onto.
Well, I definitely think that is represented throughout your whole album. Like you had said, memorable. I mean, certainly I can say that I'll be at work sometimes or doing something, not listening to music or anything, and for whatever reason, one of distance-defined songs will just get stuck in my head, usually the chorus, because, that's the catchier parts. And
that's how it goes, yeah.
But yeah, you guys definitely played through my mind quite often, whether I'm listening or not, So I think that's a good thing, because you want that.
I guess you did it right. If it's stuck in your head, we did something right. My poor wife, when I'm writing these songs, man, and I'm trying to write something, and I hear her humming it away in the background, I'm like, okay, good, it's a good one, because it's stuck in my head. That's a good way to measure it. That's a great way to measure it. Yeah, that's my measurement on if we did a good chorus or not. She's also really blunt when it comes to things like that, too, so which is good, I think, for our songwriting. I like to know, and I would say it's kind of hard. Some people say we don't write music for our fans, or we write what we want, but in the end, your fans are what make you a band, I feel like, as far as, really being a successful band or a memorable band. And so, we do want to write stuff that, the fans will enjoy or things that they'll remember, because I feel like as a band, that's what makes you unique or makes you stand out, is if you've got something that people can, really remember about you. So we kind of take pride in that, which is why we really enjoy really heavy stuff, really, chunky breakdowns or super fast stuff. But in the end, we also really love melody. We all do. So that's nice.
Right. I think, we've spoken before about maybe different influences you've had. And,
yeah.
I mean, you could tell the audience yes or no, but I had told you that when I had first started listening to Destinations, I really got This Darkened Heart era, All That Remains vibe. And I wasn't saying in any way, shape, or form that you sound just like them, like a rip-off, nothing like that. But I felt like I could hear some influences in there from that era, so to speak, like, mid-2000s era metalcore type stuff.
I think that's it was a natural occurring thing. It definitely wasn't planned. I kind of fell out of the metal scene for the last, 5 years or so, mainly because I moved back to Alaska, and I had moved to a town that really wasn't about it. And so I just kind of fell out of the huge scene, but when I was really into it was early 2000s. And, I would say my biggest influences from then would probably have to be Killswitch Engage was definitely number one. That, to me, was like opened my eyes to metalcore, having your super, good breakdowns and riffs and stuff, but really beautiful, clean choruses that just catch my eye. I feel like All That Remains was definitely a huge influence, too. I would say This Darkened Heart and then Fall of Ideals were the two biggest albums, because those were, of course, right around that time frame. And,
right.
There was just something about it that kind of caught my attention that seemed to be different. And, of course, As I Lay Dying took off, August Burns Red, and Demon Hunter. There's a whole bunch of really good bands out there that just had really good, solid, heavy music, but good, clean stuff. And so when I was writing for this project, we actually had no idea what kind of music we wanted to play. I just started writing like crazy. And I was so excited because I had been out of the scene for so long that, I wrote the album for Destinations probably within a couple of months' time. I was pumping out a song like almost every week, if not even more. And then we would, of course, fine-tune it from there. But as far as just the writing process, I just couldn't, put my guitar down. I just kept going. And if you listen to Destinations, there's definitely a lot of diversity in the songs, but I feel like there's also some similarities in there. And I think the glue that holds it all together is just my love for that style of music. But then there was the whole process of us trying to find what sort of band we want to be. And so that's why there's songs that range from, I think Dissimulation is probably the heaviest or fastest song, which is definitely more like a thrashy, double bass is going crazy. There's even some genty breakdowns and stuff. But then we'll have songs like Resolve Restore, which is just extremely Killswitch Engage vibe. Almost like a more happy sounding metal, if that makes sense, but not so dark. It's more of a major key, and it just kind of has a different feel. So we're kind of all over the place, but in the end, I feel like, there's still enough similarity between the songs that they flowed well together. We kind of organized the songs purposefully on the album to listen from start to finish for that reason. There's a little bit of a journey that you go through when you listen to it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, I think you guys pull everything off extremely well, and I'm personally,
thank you.
I'm that kind of fan where I kind of like to try to hear what the influences are, and I like to kind of hear what they're pulling from where, And, I mean, all the bands you mentioned, Demon Hunter, August Burns Red, As I Lay Dying, I mean, I was just saying all those bands. And a lot of people forget with Killswitch Engage, when Alive or Just Breathing came out, that kind of changed the game. Because at the time...
Oh, agreed.
At the time, metal wasn't flourishing like it did.
No, not
following that. And that album really changed things. And, now if you go on the internet, people want to complain about everything, and you see a lot of people give Killswitch a lot of flack, but I really think they forget when that album came out, that was a big deal, a really big deal.
I really feel like Killswitch Engage paved the way to make metal part of the mainstream again. I think metal had its kind of time in the 80s that kind of got a bad rap for the hair and the big reverb snare and all that jazz.
Right.
And then, of course, grunge came in, and as the late 90s started progressing and metal started kind of coming back from the underground, and then I really think Killswitch Engage did it, and they did it well, and I believe a huge reason of that is because they were able to make some of those melodic choruses come through, so it made it a little bit more acceptable in the mainstream world, which, you know, I mean, take it for what it is. There's people that say metalcore isn't metal because, you know, there's those purists out there, but hey, I mean, to each his own. For us, we just write music that we enjoy listening to as well as playing, and I think that's what should matter more than any sort of genre or subgenre. You know, just write music that you want to write, and let everyone else, you know, argue about it. That's not your job.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And a lot of people get too wrapped up in what the genres, subgenres, and all that is. To me, metalcore is metal. I mean, it's just as metal as anything else out there, and I mean, half those fans that you see that say metalcore isn't metal, well, in today's community of metal, Lamb of God's one of the most popular bands out there. But I don't think Lamb of God would have achieved the success that they had. I mean, both Lamb of God and Shadows Fall went on that Headbangers Ball tour with Killswitch Engage, and that changed things. Yeah, I mean that. I fully believe that is like the one tour that. After that, then Ozfest started getting heavier, and it spread like wildfire after that. And I feel like a lot of people just forget the origins. Or that wouldn't necessarily be the origins, but I think you get what I'm saying. Just it changed things. It helped elevate the scene, which was desperately needed at that time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, you know, those big tours, getting a lot of those bands to go, Ozfest, I mean, those really made this genre just take off. And then from that, so many different, like, styles came out. And I just think that, I mean, having that diversity between all those different genres is actually kind of cool because, you know, you might get someone that isn't a huge fan of metal in general, but they'll listen to this band because I don't really like the screaming so much, but man, they've got some really good catchy choruses. Well, sweet. You got a fan that maybe you wouldn't have. And then there's some guys that are like, well, we only want to play, you know, 220 beats per minute blast beats for, you know, 10 minutes because we're a prog metal band. You know, like, all right, sweet, by all means, go for it, you know?
Right.
But to call one genre less than the other, that's just silly to me. You know, just enjoy what you enjoy and let the music speak for itself.
Well, and another thing to bring up with what you were just saying, a lot of people that might not be fans of metal, a lot of metalcore, not even metalcore, but a lot of the bands with like melodic choruses or the catchy hooks and things of that nature, that can be a gateway for a new metal fan that could end up being one of the biggest metal fans out there and supporting all these bands and helping them along the way, which is just as important as anything else.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I can, my wife is that way. She's a country loving gal, man. That's what she, you know, grew up on. And, of course, she met me, and I just had to turn her to the dark side. But, you know, she wasn't really a fan of any of that kind of music. And then I show her a few, you know, bands, and Fit for a King is the one that stands out for her, which is also a huge influence for me. Probably more so on some of the newer stuff I'm writing than the previous album. But, you know, that band is definitely doing some great things and doing some really good music that's like, I don't know, mixed in with super heavy but also beautiful clean choruses. So, you know, and she's a total testament to that, man. She did not like it, but she absolutely loves that band. So, there you go. And there's many of other people out there like that.
Absolutely, for sure, yeah. And I mean, that to me is what it's all about, because like we had already said, it's not about the subgenres or anything like that. It's about the community of music and metal in general, and that's something that I try to really push with Unsigned Not Unheard. I don't know if you've noticed, but I don't really discriminate on any kind of band. If any band wants to be shared, I share them, because even if I'm not a fan, there could be one person out there that is, and if that band can gain one fan, that's a win in my book.
Agreed. Definitely agreed. Yeah, I think that's one cool thing that I really enjoyed about seeing your page when I first found it, was that, you know, you had so many different, you know, styles that you play, and I was like, all right, so we'll fit, because you got some that are out there that are pretty, like, designated to certain styles, which is totally fine, obviously. That's great. That's what those pages are for.
Right.
But I definitely listened to a few of the bands, you know, on your, like, compilation CDs, et cetera, or some that you share, and I definitely would have never listened to them before, and I found myself liking it more and more.
And that's what it's all about. That's what I love. And I love hearing that kind of stuff because that's the whole reason it was founded. It started for me trying to find new bands and then having other people find new bands. So when I hear that kind of stuff, and I mean, it gives me motivation to keep doing it, you know?
Definitely.
And I've definitely heard, like, when getting feedback, for example, for Volume 3, Tyrant Diaries, I can tell you that Distance Defined was one of the bands that I got some of the most positive feedback on. And
great. That's
honestly, that was my third compilation that I've released, and that one got the most positive reviews, most positive feedback out of any of them. So I feel like every band really brought it on that album for sure.
That's cool. Yeah, we're definitely glad to be a part of that. It's neat to that your page even does that, you know, and gives people a chance to, you know, get an album for free just to listen to and check out some, you know, unsigned artists. Because, man, the more I dug into the metal scene right now, the unsigned metal scene, there are so many different bands out there, and then every band is trying to get heard. Every band is trying to do their best to promote the page because, you know, I think metal's really taken off, and there's a lot of amazing artists. I mean, there's times where I'll listen to bands that aren't signed, and I'm like, I don't even know why I play the guitar because this is ridiculous. There's no way I could even get to their level. Or we sound like a kindergarten band compared to these dudes, and these guys aren't signed yet. We have no chance. You know what I mean? So
yeah, some of the talent
sometimes
out there.
It's disheartening.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Some of the talent out there is insane, and how some of these bands haven't been picked up yet. But I mean, honestly, I put your band in that same category because even coming down to the production, I mean, you guys sound like a professional band, and you know sometimes that can be kind of hit or miss. And I try to not pay attention to the recording so much, but just everything about Distance Defined to me, it sounds professional. You guys sound like you're signed, and you know should have CDs and FYE or whatever still exists. I don't know what's still out there.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of tough. But, no, that's great, man. I'm glad. You know, we really wanted to be able to have our album be played and not be so easily detectable that it's not a signed band. You know, I still think, you know, we're close. I think it's really close, and we're really proud of our recording. Tim, our drummer, also has a studio, and that's actually where we recorded everything. I recorded the guitars and stuff at my house, and Roland actually recorded the vocals and stuff. But as far as the mixing and mastering and kind of the mastermind behind that album was Tim, as far as just all of his awesome skills of doing that. I'm a really good, like, attention to detail, so I do really well with editing and finding small things that maybe some others can't hear out. So most of the stuff that I did towards the album, the average show listener probably wouldn't even have noticed. But you add all that stuff up, all those tiny little details that I found, and I think that really helped the overall product, you know, shine to a better level of professionalism. So I think, you know, that's really important for any band. You know, if I were to suggest anything to any band out there that's, you know, not getting signed, you definitely spend the time, if you have it, the money, if you have it, to really try and present yourself well through your recording, because that's what you're, you know, in a sense, that's what you're selling to the world. You're trying to get people to listen to you, and it's just the way our ears are accustomed to how music sounds professionally now. So anything less than that can be a distraction for your average Joe listener, and if you can, obviously, you want to do your best to have that not be the case. You don't want them to be like, oh yeah, you can tell this was recorded in their garage, you know. And so we're doing our best to try and do that. Just really put out the best sounding stuff we can, and it took a lot of time. So don't let that fool you. I mean, we actually had the ability to record this album over the course of almost a year. So pretty much as soon as we started writing music, we started recording music. And since we do all kind of live a long ways apart, I would just record when I could, and if I didn't like my take, I would redo it again. You know, I didn't have the pressure of a recording studio, which can be challenging, especially when you're paying hundreds of dollars, sometimes even an hour to do that. So for us to be able to take our time and do it really helped with the finished product, because we really did just to get to hang out and record at our own time. You know, we had somewhat of a deadline, a goal in mind, and that was to have a CD ready by the time we opened up for August Burns Red, because we felt like that'd be a really good time to, you know, release it and show everyone that we had something. And we made that goal, which was great. But, you know, in the end, just taking your time to really put out something professional is hugely important.
Right, I agree. And I think that's really good advice for any band, is to make sure you spend the money and the time or whatever it takes to get a solid recording, because that can change everything.
Yeah, it can. It definitely can. just not even for listeners, but if you are a band that is trying to get picked up by any sort of label, independent or big, I mean, you're going to want to have something that they can listen to. And not only is it just for the sake of enjoyment, but also for the sake of being able to hear your ability. You know, you don't want to have your talent masked by poor recordings, because you could have an extremely talented band that was recorded extremely poorly, and it would be really hard to kind of hear that out. And on the opposite effect, you can have a not-so-talented band that was recorded extremely professionally that'll actually catch someone's ear more. I mean, obviously, people have different, you know, preferences as far as what they enjoy in music, but I would say, like I said, take the time to do your best, your absolute best for what you can. And with today's recording technology, it's ridiculous. You could spend less than $500 and put out what we put out. I mean, definitely super, super easy now.
Right, technology.
Much easier when I first started recording on a 4-track tape player 15 years ago.
Yeah, technology has definitely come a long way, and it's beneficial for the entire music community. So we're actually kind of running out of time already.
Oh, no.
I know. Well, we're going to have to do a part 2, though, because...
Yeah, there we go.
I feel like we could talk all night, you know?
Yeah, that's true. I barely got lots to talk about.
yeah, we do. But before we go, what future plans do you have for Distance Defined? Anything in the works or anything that you guys are hoping to do?
Yeah, so we released our CD this summer in June, and we're kind of been riding the wave for that. We put out a music video, we have a lyric video, and we have a couple of live music videos too. In the works, we actually have a live music video getting finished up right now for the song Convalescent, which we're extremely excited about. We have some footage from like our CD release shows, which will be super exciting because they were really good crowds. And that'll be the next media that we'll put out. And I've actually been writing a lot of new material. So I think as of right now, I have 5 songs pretty much demoed out, which is really cool. We're kind of taking it a little bit different route without giving too much away. I think the process of writing is a little bit different. It's a little bit more involved. Definitely really been spending time with Roland, our vocalist, to make sure that the music that I'm writing is translating well with the lyrics that he's writing. It's going to be the most personal record he's ever written lyrically. I think the EP that we're working on is probably going to be great. My goal is to make it heavier, softer, more melodic, and more brutal. And I think I did that. So
that's a pretty interesting approach.
Right. Yeah. I want it heavier than heavy and softer than soft. So I think it's going to be a very dynamic, somewhat experimental songs, mainly because of it's a concept, and we're telling a true story that Roland went through, which is going to be really, really emotional, lyrically and musically. And I think we're tackling that well. So I would say we're probably going to aim to have that out, I don't know, probably sometime next year, next spring, summer, somewhere in there. You know, we kind of want to let people still get to know us with the album that we put out. You know, it's still so new. So for now, we're just going to play shows, hone in on the new stuff, and when we're ready, record them, and we'll start promoting that then.
Well, awesome. I can't wait to hear that myself. I listen to Destinations pretty often. That's one of my go-to albums right now, and I don't skip a song on it, so I can't wait to hear more.
All right. All right, we'll hopefully do the right thing with this next one.
I have faith in you. I think it'll be good.
All right. Cool, man.
So before we go, do you have anything you want to plug, any social media, anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. So the best way to get a hold of us, if you're interested in wanting to talk to us or get anything from us, or just contact us via Facebook, I think it's going to be the best right now. We do have an Instagram. So Facebook and Instagram are the best way, social media-wise, to get a hold of us. We're extremely open to just chatting, talking, meeting with people, discussing our music. On our Facebook page, we actually have a separate group that's called Distance Defined Fans, and I created that group strictly just for people who wanted to just kind of BS with us and kind of get more personal with us than just our Facebook page. It's something we'll post sometimes a little like behind-the-scene clips or some older stuff or some of our, coming into a band stuff. So that's a good place to check us out. And then besides that, we've got a YouTube page that's got our music video, our album stream that you can listen to the whole thing for free if you'd like. But if you do want to download and buy the album, it's on iTunes, Apple Play, or Apple Music, Google Play, and Spotify. So, yeah, I mean, by all means, please hook us up, come hit us up, and we'll love to just chat with you. And if you enjoy the music, let us know. Shoot, if you don't enjoy the music, let us know. Let us know why.
Well, I really enjoyed this chat, and like I said, we are definitely going to have to do a part 2 because
yeah, I think so.
I've done a few interviews now, but this is the one that I've done that I feel like we could talk all night. I feel like we barely scratched the surface, so I'm upset we ran out of time, but we'll do a part 2 for sure real soon.
Heck yeah, man. Sounds great to me. Thanks for everything you're doing. I look forward to seeing this grow continually.
All right, man. I appreciate that. So, everybody, go check out Distance Defined, and I think you'll all be a fan because I am.
All right, man.
All right,
Thanks
man.
so much.
You have a good night, brother, and I will talk to you soon.
All right. Knock on wood. Peace.
All right, what did you think of that interview with Trevin Days? Please let me know on the Twitter, let me know on Facebook. Go like them guys, go like Distance Defined, go check them out on Facebook. Go tell them what you thought of the interview. Go tell them you are now a fan of them because of this show. That helps everybody, really. So I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed that interview a lot. I enjoyed doing it, and like I said, I'd love to do another one with Trevin. It was easy. It was natural. It was a great experience, and I learned a lot about him and his band, and I enjoyed that a lot. So much so that I didn't even want to come back just talking at you guys. I wanted you to hear another song by Distance Defying. That song you just heard was called Monuments. That is their opening track on their album, and it's a perfect opener in my opinion. Just gets you pumped up, ready for more. So right now, let's just get right into more music. We're going to go into Dark Avenger, band out of Brazil. These guys are good, very, very good. Kind of like a power metal style going a little bit there. But we're going to go check them out right now with their song called Empowerment. I hope you like it.
Time after exclusively on Radio Roach.
All right, Dark Avenger definitely brought a different sound than what we usually have here, but definitely a sound I can get behind, and I wouldn't mind getting more bands that have a similar sound to what Dark Avenger brought to the table. And their song Empowerment is an amazing song. I mean, I'm really digging these guys. Like I said, they're out of Brazil, and I'm learning more and more just how big that scene is, and it is mind-blowing. So hopefully here in the very near future, we have more Brazilian bands on the UnderVerse Record Show to share with all of you. Then we went to Fit to Work. Fit to Work is a band that Big Lee has been playing a lot on his shows, so I was a little jealous. I had to get them on my show because I'm really digging that band. The track was entitled You Deserve Better, but it ain't getting much better than Fit to Work, let's be honest. Just a damn good song by a damn good band, and I want more. Then we went to Gland with their song Post-Mortem Prolapse Master. I know that Zach Murray is in the band, and he's a younger guy, and he's been in several different bands, but all of them are just brutal and good. So I couldn't wait to actually put his newest project on the UnderVerse Record Show, and I hope you guys liked it. So right now, we are going to do our drawing that I mentioned in the opening segment with Dark Days Design, and this was all over social media, so if anybody didn't see it, hopefully in the future we plan on doing more things like this, and in which case all you got to do to see it is just like us on Facebook. We are at the UnderVerse Record Show, or on Twitter we are at UnderVerse666. Hopefully we can do more stuff like this. Obviously, I mean, we had a good turnout for this one, a really good turnout actually. A lot of people got involved, a lot of people were doing what they had to do to enter the contest, but we would certainly like to do more. So, again, just in case, so you don't miss anything next time, make sure you like us on our social media platforms, and who knows what the future holds with anything we may be doing, especially via social media. So right now, my kids are back. Brett, Austin, and Jackson, if you recall, Slam, Distance Defined, and Nightwalkers were their choices earlier in the evening. They are here right now to help with this drawing. You guys want to say hi?
Hi.
They're excited. So, well, let's get right to it. Brett is actually going to be the one drawing this time. So let's go ahead and see who he gets. Shake him around real good, grab a name out, and let's see who the winner is for the Dark Days Design giveaway via UnderVerse Records. And the winner is Daryl Gatewood Jr. So you will be tagged in a post. Hopefully you're able to listen to this live right now, and you're all excited and jumping around because you should be, because the artwork's awesome. But we will send you a message, and you will also you'll be tagged in a post, like I said. So this is awesome. I'm really happy to have been able to do this giveaway, and I can't thank Dark Days Design enough. This is why we are so happy to have them as a sponsor on board, because they are so willing to do things like this for this community, and that's amazing. So again, if you haven't liked Dark Days Design on Facebook or Twitter, please go do that. Please go follow them. If you have a friend that's in a band, if you're in a band, anybody should be checking out Dark Days Design, because I'm telling you now, they do some of the best artwork. So right now we're going to get into a couple songs to end the evening. We're going to do Discrepancies with their song Art of War. We're going to close the night out with Distance Defined with The Controller. I love Distance Defined. I hope you guys liked the interview and this episode. So as always, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope everyone has a great night. And as always, stay infected!
found what you were looking for? Did he treat you better? Did he love you more? Did he fulfill all your fantasies? You wanna talk? Let's talk. Was he more of a man than me? You're here with me, so I didn't think so. But yo, you gotta go. Evil plays on the broken hearted. We try to